Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Simply Complicated podcast, episode number 9. I am Sam, and of course, with me, as always, is Alan and James. How are both of you doing this week?
Yeah, not bad, man, not bad.
Surviving.
Yeah, so we are all from the UK, which means we are, of course, in lockdown once again. Now, what do you guys really think this lockdown is going to change, though? Like, just before we get into any topics, I'm really curious.
I
Nothing
don't think it's going to change anything.
This isn't a lockdown.
No, it really isn't, is it? It's like pretty much everywhere's still open.
It's going to get worse, I think, if anything. Because they're lifting it on the 2nd of December. That close to Christmas, people are going to be stacking into shops again for Christmas shopping.
Well, it's like my birthday's on the 5th of December, and I'm probably not going to go anywhere to celebrate. Like, even if places are open, I'm probably not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just not worth the risk at the moment. Like, the only places that have closed have been the, pretty much pubs and restaurants. Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's all that's closed. Everywhere else is still open. Anyway, now that we've had that little grumble on what we can and can't do in the UK, how about we take a look at this week's topics? So, quite a lot of storage issues straight off the bat for both next-gen consoles. Well, I say both, like, I suppose if you include, like, the Series S, it's, like, 3 consoles. We have some horrible exclusive deals, which is honestly paving the way for a very horrible future in gaming. More stock issues, and then a few other things as well. So I think it's probably best if we just jump straight into it, and first things first, talk about storage. So we know straight off the bat we're missing like a random 200 gig of storage from the PS5. We already know that. The Series S isn't too bad on storage, but it has actually recently come out that the Xbox Series S, so the Xbox's digital-only version, only has 364 gigs usable storage. That's not a lot.
I mean, it's important to remember that the consoles used to come with a lot less storage than what we expect nowadays anyway, but you need to remember that the games are obviously a lot larger as well.
Yeah.
The problem with the digital version is they're going to be pushing digital downloads. 300 odd gig is not good enough.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a case of they're going to be pushing digital downloads on the digital version. Like, that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do. But 300 odd gig is not enough. It's just not good enough.
The thing that bothers me the most...
If you downloaded Warzone, COD, or whatever, what are you talking for that game alone?
Well, Warzone itself is about 130 gig. The COD on next gen is over 120 gig, according to current rumors. So, I mean, straight off the bat, there's 2/3 of the entire console storage gone.
Just not good enough.
No. It's like, if you're doing a digital-only console, you need the storage, for sure. You can't shorthand people like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a cheaper console with to be fair, it does have a really low price point. But 364 gig on digital-only. Like, is that even usable?
See, I would say yes, because you can use external storage as well. Obviously, it's not going to be as good, as fast, but you can still use it.
That would be the only way for me to forgive them, for them to get away with that, I think, is sell that console with an extendable storage.
No, it does. Like, you've got the USB ports. You can put in, like, an external hard drive into it.
Yeah, but you just got to go out and buy it again because the console that you've been waiting for hasn't got enough, so you've just got to go out and buy more shit. If they sold the console with an extendable storage, I'll make it a bit...
That would just... Well, the thing is, though, if they were going to sell a console with extendable storage, why not just have bigger storage in the console?
True.
But what bugs me the most about both the Xbox and the PlayStation is, do you know what they're advertising the hard drives as?
No.
So the Series S, you get 364 gigabytes, but on the box it will say 512. On the PlayStation 5, it will say 825, but you only get 667.
Yeah. I mean,
why not be honest and say what you actually get?
I mean, when it comes to storage, obviously with the way it's calculated, what it says on paper is never what you get. It's just the way it's always been, basically. The only downside is this is way too much to lose just to the way it's calculated. Like, normally with a 1 terabyte hard drive, you would have typically about 960, 970 gigabyte usable storage. So if we look at the Xbox Series X, that's got a full terabyte hard drive, and I think that has about 950 usable. Could be wrong on that one. But either way, that is typically what you would expect to miss from usable storage. The PS5 is missing a random 200 gig for some reason, but then the Series S is also missing nearly 200 gig.
Have we got any answers yet as far as to where this 200 gig has gone?
Nope.
Still no answer.
But
no.
For both consoles to have the same issue, there's got to be something.
But
like, it's...
why doesn't the Series X have this issue then?
I don't know. I haven't looked too much into the X. I've just seen more about the S and obviously the PS5.
I mean, obviously everything's still going to be pretty much NDA'd. Like, everything is going to be NDA'd until the consoles officially release. So
Which
obviously,
is tomorrow for Xbox.
Well, yeah. So all the big like tech YouTubers who really dive headfirst into all this sort of stuff, obviously they can't say anything at this point. So we are probably going to get news about it in this coming week for where that storage is. But for now, it's just disappeared in a black hole, essentially. Like, that's probably the only way to put it. It's just mysteriously vanished, pretty much. But, I mean, it's one of them things. Like, they're really short-handing us, I think. Especially with how big games are really getting. But it's like, obviously, the Xbox isn't the only one with this problem. The PS5's having it as well. But there is one thing the Xbox is doing, which is honestly kind of nice. You can change the storage in there. Like, it came out today that to change the SSD, it's not soldered onto the board or anything like that. It's just a 2230 NVMe, basically. So it's like, you just open the console up, pop it out, and you can pop a new one in, pretty much. Like, it's that easy. It's not soldered to the board. The PS5, it is soldered to the board. So you can't change that. If anything goes wrong with that storage, your PS5 is bricked, essentially.
Yeah, but you've also got the expendable, so you can use that as opposed to Xbox doesn't have that. The only thing they've got is those little sliding hard drives.
I mean, yeah, but that's still technically expandable storage. It's just proprietary.
Yeah, but for them to now give you the option to change the SSD that's in the system, to me isn't massive because it's like PlayStation already have that option.
Yeah.
We had that option. We can't do that on PS5. Like, it is straight up soldered to the main motherboard. So, we can't...
Yeah, but I'm talking about the expendable memory. So, ignore taking out the old memory. For PS5, you can obviously put some more extendable memory in there, which we'll get to in a bit. But...
Yes, I have a lot of things I want to say about that. It's like episode number 9 of the podcast, which means episode number 9 of my rant.
Yep. It's no podcast without a Primal rant.
Thing is, this is going to be one of those things that I know I'm not alone in being annoyed by. Because it is a big dicky move on Sony's part. And honestly, I think we might as well just jump straight into that now.
Just jumping into it,
yeah. So... Right, expandable storage for the PS5 is just an M.2 slot, basically. You know, the hardware's already there, you just plug an M.2 in, and you should be good to go. For some reason, that's not going to work on release. Sony have come out and said that's not going to work until they release an update allowing it to work, basically. So,
yeah, it's going to be a future update.
Yeah, but here's the kicker. USB storage works from the get-go. That just doesn't work with PS5 games, basically. So any PS4 games or anything like that, you can use a USB external hard drive and it'll work just fine. But here's the thing. If USB external storage is working fine, why is the M.2 expandable storage not working? Why have Sony locked that out?
Yeah, but think of when you're building a PC, not all hard drives are going to work inside your PC, but any external USB hard drive will work on it. I don't think you can put them into the same boat.
I mean, that's not technically true. It's like if you build a PC, you can pretty much plug in any M.2 in there. But with the PS5, we already know what the PS5 SSD is running at. Now, for them to basically just turn off all devices is honestly pretty stupid. They should have put out a list of... You know, it's like, okay, you want this amount of read speed, you want this amount of write speed. As long as you hit these two parts, you'll be fine, basically.
But that's their plan. The issue is that they haven't got around to doing that yet, which I think is ridiculous because they've had more than enough
all
time.
this time. Yeah, it's like even when you look at when they announced the expandable storage will be an M.2, if they announced it, why aren't they tested it?
It just all leads me back to saying what I was saying before. On the next gen was just rushed.
It is a bit,
yeah,
but it could be that they've done a lot of tests and they found a lot of them don't work, so now they're just worried and they're holding things back to try and cover their backs.
But here's the thing. If they were going to announce it, which they have done, they've shipped units with the M.2 slot. Something must work. It's like, they can't just put this out there and it not work, like, at all. Surely.
I'm sure it works. They've probably tested it on a few and maybe only one or two of them work, so now they're like, shit, this is a lot worse than we thought.
Okay, so why not allow people to use the slot and just say, currently we've only tested these drives, so if you want something that works, go for these. We know these work.
They could do.
Yeah. It's like, rather than just turning the feature off straight off the bat. It's like, I've said to you in the week, James, the way I see this is they're falling behind on their own storage production. And they just want to lock everybody out, make sure they don't go buy like Samsung memory or anything like that. Wait until their storage their production has caught up, and they can release their own model NVMe drives, which they want people to buy. That's
which I wouldn't put past them.
No, that's literally the way I see this going. Because they did that with the PS Vita. It's like they released their own SD card, which was just a bog standard SD card with the Sony logo on it, but they locked the Vita to only work with their storage cards, and they were sold at like 5 times the price.
But they won't do that for the PS5. They've already announced that it will work with other hard drives, so it's not going to be just down to their one. No,
but it just means we have to wait for them to allow us, even though we already have the ability to install it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously, it's going to be a problem that affects very little people, let's be honest. Like, sure, there's going to be people who upgrade the storage, but when it comes to the amount of people who need that upgraded storage day one, it is going to be few and far between, because you're pretty much going to have to buy most of the release games to fill up the storage. But at the same time, there is going to be those people who do go ahead and do that. And this, to me, is a shot in the foot to those people. It's like, they bought the console day one, so rather than being like, hey, thank you, you bought our console day one, we love you, it's like, yeah, you bought our console day one, but we're kind of not giving you the features day one.
It doesn't really surprise me.
It kind of does for Sony.
Day one releases, I don't think anyone can expect full shebang.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people wait.
Yeah, I mean,
it's usually something.
I get that, but if they're going to announce features, they need to have them ready for day one. They can't, like, it's going to be Stadia all over again. They announce features, they don't come out on release, and then it just takes months, years, whatever for them to come. And eventually people just don't care, they move on. Because, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Stadia failed. Everything that was promised for launch pretty much wasn't delivered until, like, halfway through its lifespan. And I'm worried this might be one of those things that just gets left and forgotten about, and we won't get it for, like, the first year.
I don't think that will be the case. I think space on the hard drive is something that everyone will constantly be on their back about. I don't think they're going to leave it that long. Maybe a month, maybe even 2, but I definitely wouldn't say longer than that.
I reckon it'll be a couple of months.
I don't see it being this year, in fairness, because, I mean, you've got Christmas, I mean, you've got the virus pandemic, which is obviously worldwide. That's going to hinder a lot of things as well. So people are going to be working from home who are doing, like, all the coding side of the next-gen consoles. But with Christmas holidays, New Year, things like that, I don't see it being this year. Unless they've pretty much got it ready and they're just going to release it, I don't know, the end of November. But I honestly doubt that.
I would say Christmas time would be a good time to release it, because obviously people will buy it as presents and stuff.
I mean, are we even going to have console stock by Christmas?
Console stock will be back in stock on release day.
For some stores. Like, we know it's some stores, because, I mean, obviously, I don't know about anyone else, but I've gone phoning tons of stores, basically saying like, what's your deal with the PS5 situation at the moment? And pretty much every store I've spoke to, obviously already completely sold out on pre-orders and things like that.
Have you spoke to Game?
No, not Game.
Because I was going to. Game was supposed to be getting a load in.
Yeah, I was going to speak about this later, but two companies have already confirmed stock for release day, which is John Lewis and Game.
I mean, how is this going to work, though, because of what Sony have basically said? Like, you can't get the stock in store, essentially.
No, so it's online.
Online sales only. I'm assuming it's, take Game, for example, it's going to be in stock, but you'll be ordering it online. You won't be going in the shop and picking it up.
Exactly, yeah. You can't buy it from the shop. You can only buy it from online. You can collect in store, click and collect, or you can get it delivered.
Right, so this, on paper, would be a good thing, but what about one tiny little problem? Scalping bots. We're going to run into the exact same issue there was on pre-orders for the consoles, the same issue there was for like the graphics cards, new AMD CPUs. Scalping bots are just taking over at the moment during the pandemic. As soon as something goes live, they're going to be sold out instantly.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can really do about that. At the end of the day, because of the pandemic, you can't have people camping outside the shops or everyone going crazy inside shops. They have to. No,
I completely get that. Like, I completely get that. What I'm saying, though, is this is definitely going to hinder stock. It's like, even if they are going to have stock ready for day one, how many people are actually going to be able to get their hands on it? That's the question. And how long is the shortage of stock going to be? Because obviously it's both consoles that are falling for this. Well, maybe not the Xbox Series S, because I mean, to be fair, that was in stock for a really long time after pre-orders went live.
Yeah, no one wanted that.
I mean, can you blame them?
It's a this gen. It's not a next gen.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think there is going to be a huge stock shortage. I think it is going to take a while, probably around the start to mid of next year, to actually have constant stock of it. But there's nothing we can do about that. All we have to do is just hope for the best when it comes to the release and see how many consoles there are. As I say, Game only announced today that they're going to have stock in on the release date.
On release dates?
Yeah.
To be fair, if Game are having stock in, I think a company as large as them probably would have a decent supply. So maybe it won't be too bad to get a console, but obviously it all depends on the scalping situation and how that actually goes. But I'm
assuming you're not just going to get somebody ordering like 20 consoles, though, online. Because initially it was supposed to be one per household anyway.
It still is.
Yeah, I mean, it still is. But at the same time, the graphics card situation was like that as well. But they just do multiple addresses or PO boxes and things like that. So there's not really much you can do on that side, unfortunately. Again, though, it does come as an issue. Because, I mean, I know, James, you're incredibly lucky. You've already got your console pre-ordered. You can get yours on the 12th, was it?
Of course he has.
Yes.
Mr. Razor.
Mr. Razor.
It's like, you managed to look out with an Argos pre-order, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you don't have any issue getting a console. Like, you're already confirmed to get yours. Do you think that's actually changed your perspective on, like, the availability, the launch, and things like that? Like, just the perspective of knowing you have a console day one. You don't have to worry about when is stock going to be available, when are you going to be able to get one, and things like that.
No, not really. I don't think that's changed anything. I haven't changed my views on it at all. I always felt that they will have them on day one. I don't know how many they'll have, but I've said for a long time, I reckon come release day, they will get them back in stock. And now we're starting to get shops actually announcing that they will have them back in stock.
Yeah.
And one good thing about John Lewis, I've noticed, because they're getting Xbox back in stock tomorrow on the release day, they've put down what time it will be live.
So people can go John Lewis and wait.
Yeah, they're probably your best bet because 8 a.m. tomorrow morning is when they go live. So be ready at 8 a.m.
It's going to be there on the website, aren't they? Like refresh.
Yeah, so the website will probably crash, but that's going to be your best bet. And then obviously Game comes second, in my opinion. You should always try John Lewis first.
One thing I do have to ask, though, because, I mean, this has just been brought up in chat from Damon. And so we know about Cyberpunk is not coming out on release day anymore. But this is becoming a big problem on multiple titles for next gen now. Pretty much everything is getting delayed.
Cyberpunk is a bit more of a bitch than others, though, because they got the gold, is it the gold label or whatever it is, to confirm that there will be no more pushbacks. And then it got pushed back.
Yeah. It's had like 5 pushbacks now, hasn't it?
More than that, I think. But I think one of the things that most people are annoyed by is the fact that Cyberpunk announced they were not going to force crunch time on their devs, and then they forced crunch time, basically. I assume both of you know what crunch is, right?
Yeah.
As in, it has to be done by this time, I assume.
Yeah, it's like forced mandatory overtime, essentially. It's like, if you're working 40 hours a week on this game, the last, like, 6 months in that, you could be working 120-hour weeks, basically. It's like, it's forced mandatory, essentially slave labor. I mean, not slave labor, because they're still getting paid for it and all that. It's just an unhealthy amount of work, and it's mainly an issue in, like, Japanese anime creators and that, like animation studios. But we are seeing it more and more now in the gaming world. Obviously, it's been going on in the gaming world for a long time. It's just now it's becoming... like, it's coming out into light more and more.
I just don't understand it with Cyberpunk now. How did they get the gold banner or gold label or whatever it is that suggests that it's finished, that will do no more pushbacks, and then it gets pushed back? How did they end up getting the gold?
I mean, isn't the gold label just essentially like how many it's sold? Like, I always thought when games go gold, that's just because of sale numbers.
Usually is, yeah.
Yeah. So is it not just because of how much it's been pre-ordered?
Maybe. I read that the gold label was to suggest that there's no more delays or anything like that. It's ready and it'll be released on this date.
I don't know, because I mean, normally it's rare for a game to go gold before it's actually out. Typically, it's only when the game's already out. But at the same time, with how many delays Cyberpunk has had, I mean, it could be down to pre-orders maybe, and it went gold after it hit a certain milestone. I don't know. Like, I generally don't know. But Cyberpunk's not the only one that's facing this problem. There are multiple other games. So, going back to, well, when I initially tried to start this conversation, what are launch titles that you guys are looking forward to? Like, is there anything...
Spider-Man.
Miles Morales. Yeah, that looks really good.
Is that all you're both looking forward to?
I mean, it's just the first one that comes to mind straight away, to be honest.
I mean, the rest have pretty much already been released, or like Call of Duty, I'm looking forward to. Godfall looks good. Assassin's Creed. There is another one, but I can't think of it right now. There's a few good-looking games, but a lot of them are coming out before the console's released anyway. So
yeah, on current gen.
Yeah.
But I'm going to end up playing them on PlayStation 4 anyway.
Yeah, because you're not getting a console straight away, are you? You're waiting.
I'm waiting a year, yeah.
Yeah. My only problem is, if it's next gen, how can it really be considered next gen launch if pretty much all the games are current gen? Like, I find that a bit of a kick in the teeth. It's like pretty much all exclusive next gen games are delayed.
I get why most of them are current gen. People who maybe can't afford next gen consoles at the moment who still want to play the games.
No, I mean, I completely get that.
This is usual. I mean, obviously, when a new console comes out, they still release it for the previous console.
Yeah.
They need the sales.
Yeah, but
it's just a weird one this year because the console's not released in time for the game to be released. So you're actually getting it on the previous console before, which is unusual.
What I mean is, we don't really have any next-gen exclusives on launch, which is honestly rare. Like, normally there's at least a couple. Like
Killzone for PS4.
It makes sense that you'd be getting the game for next gen before you're getting the next gen console, because you'd be getting it on the current gen, and then you're upgrading.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though: if the game is made to run on current gen, how
is it really a next gen title?
Yeah, it's like it's not really next gen. It's just going to get upscaled, basically, isn't it? Because I mean, there's obviously that rumor about Assassin's Creed Valhalla not being native 4K,
and Watch Dogs.
Oh, there's Watch Dogs as well.
Yeah, so apparently, I don't quite understand it, but apparently they've got parts of the game which are native 4K, but it's not consistent. A lot of it isn't native 4K. I don't really know how that works, but
So
that's
does
what
the
I was
quality
reading.
just drop mid-game?
I assume that there's areas where they put a lot of effort into it to make it native 4K, and then other areas where it's like 1440.
I imagine that's probably going to be like cutscenes then, right? Like the cutscenes
Probably.
are going to be 4K, whereas the gameplay itself is going to be like
1440.
1080 or 1440.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm going to come out and say this is probably because of the Series S. Like, if a game is not releasing on current gen, it's got no excuse not to be 4K. If it can't run 4K, it'll probably be because it's releasing on the Series S as well. Because that just can't really handle 4K. It's not powerful enough. Not for a major title anyway, I don't think. Sure, you're going to get indie games and things like that could run 4K pretty much fine. But I think the Series S is probably going to hold back this gen.
I don't think it will hold it back, but maybe at the start. I think developers they want all of their games to run on all consoles. I think you are going to get to a stage where there's going to be games that will be Xbox Series X and PS5 exclusive, not Series S.
To be fair,
or they'll have a different.
One of the problems that's been going on with games forever, I mean, just look back at PS3 and Xbox 360. The games are always made to run on the worst platform and then upscaled for the better platform. Why can't it be the other way around?
Apparently
What, made to run worse on the better platform and upscaled for the worst platform?
No, so it's like made for the powerful platforms, so the PS5, the Series X, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then just scale it down. You know, it's like lower the view distance, lower the render, and things like that.
So you can run it on current gen?
No, for like the Series S, for example.
Oh, for this. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like why not have like the menus for like PC, whereas you can run in Ultra and this, that, and the other. In theory, they could do that.
Yeah, it's
and then if you're on the S, you'll have it on Basic or something. If you're on the X or PS5, you can have it on Ultra.
Yeah,
I don't think it makes a difference, to be honest with you, because I don't think the S is going to be taken seriously as at all.
I mean, in fairness, he is sold out now.
I mean,
so there's definitely going to be a lot out there in the world. It's probably because of the price points. I mean, 250. That's not a bad price point to experience next gen.
Plus, we spoke about this before. Yeah. Whereas kids that want the new Xbox, the parents going to go into the shop, ask for the Xbox. They're going to end up with the cheap one.
I mean, to be fair,
parents are going to want to save money.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the same thing. Like, it's you know.
But it's like, are they going to walk out with a Series X, a Series S, an Xbox One X, an
that
Xbox One S? You know, it's like, what are they actually going to walk out with?
Well, no, they got an additional chance of walking out with an Xbox Series X fridge. So anyway,
I'm not going to deny.
What you wanted, son?
I'm not going to deny. I want that damn fridge. Like, I want that fridge. Like, remember the Indiana Jones movie where he survives a nuclear blast by hiding in a fridge? Let's be honest, the Series X fridge is going to be like that. Like, it's so damn thick. Well, it's like, have you seen the thickness of the sides?
It's a thick boy.
It's like, if somebody's going to take a shot at you with a gun or something like that, that fridge can definitely save you. For sure.
I'll tell you what, though, it is absolutely a genius marketing idea to play into the meme.
I love them for that.
Yeah, it's like, look how much, like, conversation was going about Microsoft at that point. It's like, they were blowing up everywhere. And it's like, I'm not really an Xbox person. Like, I'm going to get the Series X eventually, not on release, probably because I can't get a console on release. But I'll probably pick one of them up next year just for the exclusives.
8 a.m. tomorrow morning, John Lewis.
Do you know how close the nearest John Lewis is to me?
They deliver. It can take up to 5 days, but they deliver.
What exclusives are you going to be getting on the Xbox? What are you picking one up for exclusives?
So things like Halo, Gears of War, things like that. Like things that I've played like over at Ryan's back when I was a teenager and that. But I just couldn't really experience on Sony. So I'm going to pick one up for them and that. You know, just a casual wind down experience, basically. But yeah, it's like, even the fridge made me like actually laugh, and I'm like, okay, Microsoft, you've done well this time. Like, you've seriously done well. Yeah. Especially after the failings they had last gen on release. It's like, whenever they got shit talked last gen, they just sort of went quiet and just let it all keep going and building up and building up and building up. And that cost them big time. So now it seems like they fired the horrible PR guy they had back then and hired somebody who actually knows how to work the internet.
Yeah.
Here's the question though: PS5 router when?
It's got to happen.
It needs to happen, but at the same time, if it does, that I think that would be a bit of a backlash for that. So yeah, you just copy an Xbox. They've already done it.
That's the thing, though.
They made
it?
the fridge. You try and copy with your router. Fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's kind of the bad thing, though. It's like one person can embrace the meme, but anybody else who does it after that is just a copycat.
Yeah, it's not original anymore.
Like, I think there are some things that could be good if multiple people could embrace the memes about them. But, I mean, Xbox versus PlayStation, I suppose it is what it is, because unfortunately the console war is still a thing. And, you know, I didn't realize how bad the war was until, like, you look at, like, message boards and Facebook and things like that.
And Twitter.
Don't get me started on Twitter.
But that's because our generation's got over it. It's the next generation that are carrying it on.
Yeah.
So to us, it's all over. But then you look and you realise, oh no, the kids are still going on about it.
I mean, right, one thing... Well, I'm going to sort of transition away here, but... This wasn't on the list of topics, so you guys have got no idea what I'm about to say. I think
I'm used to that, to be honest.
Thank you. I think my excitement for next gen has been completely ruined with one simple thing. I have transitioned into mainly a PC gamer. So it's not...
Thinks he's elite.
No. I think with me, what it is I've gotten so used to the level of hardware that you can have in a PC that now when a console comes out, I'm not as excited as I used to be. Like when the PS3 came out and that, I was ecstatic. Like super excited for it and that. And then with the PS4, it came out just before I sort of did the transition over to the PC. I mean, I had a decent gaming rig back then, but I never really used it. It was more for YouTube editing and things like that. So even though I had the power, I never utilized it. So I was still really excited for the PS4 and that big generational gap. Whereas now between the PS4 and like the PS5, there's not as much of a gap, but I'm also super big into PCs, so I already have a PC that will blow a PS5 just completely out of the water. So I think that's really hindered my excitement for next gen. Like when it was announced, I was excited and things like that. But my excitement level has waned super quickly.
Yeah, you're expecting too much. You're forgetting the leap between PS4 to PS5. You're focusing more on PC to PS5, by the sounds of it.
I don't think it's an issue with expectations. I think it's an issue with what I'm used to. So
I mean, it's your fault for being a PC gamer.
You say that, but you've just recently become one as well.
Yeah, no, but I'm new, so I can still get excited about new consoles. Anyone who isn't a PC gamer has that fresh excitement every time a new console comes out.
I mean, like I am still excited for some of the games. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm dying for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm super dying for that.
That looks so good.
Like, just give me a list of Sony execs that I need to suck off to get my hands on a console in that game, and I'll be straight on a plane. Hey, dude,
Did you say give me a list of Sony execs for me to suck off?
Don't know what you're on about. But no, I want that game. I want that game so badly. I think that's probably why I'm still a little excited for next gen, to be fair.
Yeah, but you're excited about the actual games you can play, aren't you? Not the console.
Yeah, I suppose, actually. There is that point as well. Like, I suppose in terms of the console, I'd be happy about a new, faster UI, because, once again, the PS4 has gotten even goddamn slower in the store, and this is really doing not in now.
The PS5 looks amazing, and obviously, even going into the XMB, you don't leave the game. It's all overlaid on top of the game. It looks like it's really quick.
Probably a controversial point. I don't like overlays. It's like the Steam overlay. I hate that. Like, I just want the menu screen on its own. Like, just pause the game, put me in the menu. Don't overlay, because things blend in too much.
He doesn't even want words, he doesn't. He just wants dots and ones and zeros.
Binary, yeah?
Yeah.
One thing, though, which is completely irrelevant to what we're talking about, but have you seen the update today, whereas you can do the PS5 remote play on the PS4?
By the way, have you updated your PlayStation app yet on your phone?
Yes, yeah. But it's way better.
It does look so cool.
But yeah, you should be able to basically remote play your PS5 on your PS4. which will be interesting.
Especially because the PS5 controller doesn't work on the PS4. The one thing...
PS4 controller?
Yeah, but here's the thing. The PS5 controller works on goddamn everything. Works on PC, works on Xbox, works on a goddamn Nintendo Switch. Works on a PS3.
Second screen into your PC?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, the controller works on everything, but not
everything but a PS4.
PS4.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a weird. It's not going to be everything, because I don't think you're going to be able to go back to the PS1 with a PS5 controller.
It's given what you can do with an adaptive to use this on a Nintendo Switch, you probably could get it working on a PS1 and PS2.
But remember, this goes both ways. So you can't use a PS4 controller on a PS5 for PS5 games, but you can for PS4 games. They've blocked it, so you can't play PS5 games with the DualShock 4 or whatever the fuck it's called for the PS4.
Yeah, the DualShock.
Because they want you to use the adaptive triggers. So they've disabled it.
I disagree. I don't think it's got anything to do with the triggers.
This is what Sony said.
Yeah, I mean, what they say
they
and
want
what
you
they
to
mean.
Yeah, it's because they want you to get the most out of the new controller. They've made this new controller. Why use an old controller that doesn't have these new things built in?
Right, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And I'm going to turn around and say it's not because of the triggers, it's because they want you to buy their newer, more expensive controller that's not going to drop in price like the PS4 controllers are. If you could use the PS4 controller to play PS5 games, if a PS4 controller is 30 quid and a PS5 controller is 70 quid, are you going to go out and buy a PS5 controller just for the adaptive triggers?
I was just about to say, you were talking about your excitement for consoles dwindling since you got into PC gaming and stuff like that. But I think this console is the right console to be excited about because of the controller.
The controller is the key thing for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work. Plus, I don't know how much I would personally take advantage of the adaptive triggers. Like, realistically, the only thing you could do with them would be, like, racing games and shooting games. And, well, yeah, I'm excited for the first time in many, many years about the next COD. Am I going to play it all year? Probably not. But how is it going to work into the games I do play? Because I'm not going to play an FPS game all year. Like, I play tons of RPGs and JRPGs. So it's one of those things that I would personally probably not get any benefit out of. Because I don't see why you would need adaptive triggers in games like that. Because
I like the idea.
It's not a need.
It's
a gimmick, but it's a really good.
It is a gimmick, but it's just adding more immersiveness to the game that you're playing, basically. So a bow and arrow, you'll feel the tension on when you pull back in the triggers, and I think that's great. I think feeling the game as you're playing it is a great thing.
Okay, so you just mentioned bow and arrow, and off the bat, I can only think of 3 games that even have bows in them. Tomb Raider, Horizon, and Skyrim, which we know is going to end up coming.
But we're talking about current games. Obviously, this is the next generation. There's going to be new games that will be made just for this controller.
The thing is, though, it's like, would you make a game that uses a bow and arrow, or would you make a shooting game? Like, I know there's going to be a lot of games that do use the triggers.
Racing games as well. You'll feel the tension on the pedal as you're accelerating.
How often?
But on the trigger.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It is mainly going to be a racing and shooting game thing, though, isn't it? Like, can you think of any other sorts of games that you would be able to?
It's hard to think.
I'll be honest, I can't think of any other sort of games.
Yeah,
it's hard to think of any other sort of games where you can utilize this, because it's going to be for future games that aren't even thought of.
Okay, no, but what I mean is...
There's going to be games that are specifically built around to get the most out of this immersive controller.
Okay, but what about...
adaptive controller.
What about game genre? Like, we've got racing, we've got FPS. What other games would be able to utilize it? Sports games probably won't. I mean, I really can't think of how a sports game would utilize an adaptive trigger. Maybe a little rumble on FIFA or something when the ball gets passed to you and your character gets it. I don't know. But that's
maybe how hard you hit. Maybe how hard you hit the trigger is how far you kick it. I don't know. There's many things it could be.
There's going to be many things that we can't think of because we're not part of the team that's...
Oh, no, I mean, I completely get that. I just don't see a need for it outside of FPS and racing, personally. Like, I can't imagine how it would work. Obviously, they will be able to work it in some way or another. Like, I'm not disputing or doubting that. But will it be a need that warrants an expensive controller for?
I would like to see it being used in horror genres, if possible.
How?
Because if I'm shitting myself and there's the option to add a little bit more immersiveness and freakishness, then I'm up for that.
Maybe like
I don't know how. I'm not a part of the team.
Maybe like a psych meter on the side that when you're really freaked out in that, it becomes really stiff to press the triggers because you're like panicky and you're sort of freezing over. And that. I suppose that could work. I
mean, there's lots of possibilities.
I suppose in like RPGs and JRPGs, it could be linked to status conditions as well, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I suppose thinking about it now, it could work in multiple genres. I still think it's going to be mainly used.
Plus, it's more than just adaptive as well. You've got a built-in microphone,
which is really good, by the way.
Yeah,
it is a bit messed up. It seems to stick mainly to like the right ear, I think. It's not like in the middle. It's not centered.
Oh, okay.
So if you're listening to someone through your headphones when they're using that, you're going to hear them a lot more in your right ear.
I mean, just don't fart.
Yeah, that as well. It's very sensitive. Was the glitching queen or whatever? She did a test on it.
I don't know. Like the only reason I said that is because you were telling me about it.
That is how you build this controller into horror games with the built-in mic. Any noise you make, a mic picks up and gives your position away for this creature or whatever.
That could be good, actually. Speaking of creature, you've got a guest.
I was about to say, yeah.
I've got a what?
A guest. I think she wants out.
Oh. Bear with me, I guess.
But yeah, I guess with horror, it could be quite good. Like, think of like, well, not Left 4 Dead, but a game like Left 4 Dead. You know, like a zombie survival game. It's like you're sneaking around and things like that. It's like, say you say something and that, or you're speaking to friends over team chat. The game could pick that up. Sort of like Phasmophobia, because I think that does it, right?
It does, yeah. If you speak on the mic, then the ghost will respond or whatever. Alan, you've played it.
What's that?
Phasmophobia.
Yes.
That interacts with the microphone, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got voice recognition. And you can hold V down to interact, or there's an option to have it constantly active. So if you're hiding in a closet away from a ghost and you fart or burp or cough, the ghost will hear you.
Do you think that's going to be a thing with the built-in mic?
And I think they should, if it's not already an idea. You can talk to Ouija boards doing it.
I think this could be a really good advantage for horror games. But I think they do need to tone down the sensitivity.
Well, we've only seen it tested on PC. So on PS5, you may have the options to do that. Yeah,
like how on current gen, you've still got the volume controls for how sensitive the mic is. Yeah. My only problem with this, well, I mean, it's not really my problem, but it's going to be a problem for a lot of people, which is definitely going to get spoken about eventually, is it's just another microphone that people can listen in on. Do you guys really think this is going to be an issue?
Well, you're a conspiracy theorist.
No, as I just said, I personally don't have a problem with this. Like,
is this going to be on the same lines of why people don't get an Echo Dot because your conversations are recorded and they're listening?
I mean, I guess so. But as I say, it's like, I personally don't have a problem with this. I mean, I've got my mic here, I've got my webcam that's never covered, I've got my camera connected that's never covered. I've got my phone, which, I mean, you know, always active. I've got smartwatch. I've got plenty of things that can record me and anything and everything I say. But now it's becoming a point in a controller, you know there's going to be more people that start freaking out over this.
There will be, and these people will forget that their mobile phone can do exactly the same thing.
That's fair. It's like when people moan about this,
device, all you need to say is, "Hey Siri."
Yeah.
Boom, your phone's awake. It's
because
listening.
It's always listening.
How many did you just trigger?
I know, right?
Hey, Alexa.
I was just about to say, what about when you said Alexa earlier?
Well, my Alexa's in the living room now, so she can't see me.
This is where you go back in and your lights are just dancing around, flickering on and off constantly. Yeah. But no, I think voice recognition could be a really good thing. Plus, it could be expanded upon. Obviously, it was a feature on the Nintendo 3DS as well. Like, there is that little microphone in the middle of the 3DS. I mean, some games you had to blow into to trigger some gameplay mechanics. So, well, I say so. That feature stopped being used. Like, it was pretty much a gimmick, and it was only for a couple of games. But now with a permanent mic in the controller, are we going to get any more games like that? Like,
I don't know.
Well, think of war games. You can give orders out to AI.
But that's going to take a lot of coding for the voice recognition, though. I reckon. I think it would be nice if it did happen. I just don't think it's going to happen as much as we'd want to see it.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I'm more interested in how Phasmophobia got their system working, because that does seem like a good system that a lot of places could take advantage of. Because if a ghost can do it in Phasmophobia, enemies in FPS and stealth games can do that as well. So it's like, this now is honestly probably the start of what I would consider to be a really, really good precedent for future game features.
Well, you intertwine that with VR, and you're in the middle of a battlefield or something hidden away, and you've genuinely got to be quiet because your microphone is picking up every noise that you make and your enemy can hear.
I would love that.
Yeah, but how many times, though, are you going to have some 12-year-old kid on the console? The mum shouts down, do your homework, come do the dishes. And it's like, Mom, you got me killed! It's like, it's just going to be one of those, I can't pause online games, Mom!
Your dad pops in, are you winning, son?
Not anymore, Dad.
It's like, you just got me found. I'm now being tortured. Thank you very much.
But no, I think that would be great if they did that.
Yeah, like, definitely. But what would be the best game you think for it? Like, well, not game, genre, I should say.
Shooters, I reckon that would work really well. Or horror, like the Alien games. If they brought one of those out, whereas you had to literally be silent.
Oh, God, the Alien games would be so scary with that.
I mean,
I was playing Alien Isolation hiding under tables the entire time.
I was just about to say, aren't you scared of basically everything?
Oh, yeah. I was hidden under the tables, just basically going, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. So if I've also got to be quiet as well, I'd be like, ah.
And that little noise you just made is enough to alert the alien to you.
Yeah, and then I get snatched.
Which, like, what about jump scares? It's like you're about to, like, say you're walking down a corridor that's shaped like this. You know, it's like you're walking down this bit, and at the very end of the corridor, you can go left or right.
Okay, yeah.
So, just as you're coming up to the bottom of that corridor, some weird monster, alien, ghost thing just walks across the pathway. It gives you a jump scare, you make a noise, it turns and sees you.
I mean, yeah. I don't think you're going to be able to stop that noise if you're getting a jump scare like that.
No, I know, but that would be such a level of immersiveness.
Yeah. I would definitely be screaming anyway as well, so...
I've just thought of one thing. What if you combine it with VR?
I just said that. Oh. I just said that.
I was too busy going through my own monologue.
Chat or witnesses here.
No, I didn't see it. My bad. But yeah, it could be a really nice feature of games. Because VR to me at the moment is one of those slow-moving things. Like,
yeah, that's because you don't have it. If you had it, I think you'd have a different view.
I mean, I don't have it because I'm not really that interested in anything for it. Like, there are a couple of things that look... okay, that looks pretty good. But not good enough for me to go out and buy a VR system.
There are some games that I've played on there that are ridiculously good.
What I want to play in VR is Phasmophobia. That looks hilarious in VR.
I mean, can't you do that?
Yeah,
no, because I don't have an Oculus.
Wait, can't you use other headsets? Does it have to be an Oculus?
Can I use my PSVR with PC?
No. There's more than just
you
the
can,
Oculus
but it doesn't work
on
properly.
PC, right?
There's got to be more than just.
There are more. You've got like Hive and stuff like that. I think, but it depends on the game. A lot of games will only work with certain VRs.
Phasmophobia had the VR capability, and it looks funny.
I know how bad you are with horror, so I can't...
I fall out my window.
I was about to say, like, I can't imagine you with a VR headset on playing a horror game like Phasmophobia.
Yeah.
It's like, you would probably genuinely crap yourself.
I mean, I guess you're supposed to be standing still in the real world, aren't you, when you're doing it? But I would honestly shit myself and run in one direction in the living room, pulling everything off of me.
Oh, I could definitely see that with you. Like, you just stand up and you just go straight over your coffee table, face first.
That's happened. That's happened. Not face first, but back first when I was playing Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh my god. Right, I think we've rambled on long enough, so we should probably get back to actually one of the actual topics we had instead of a surprise one that we rambled on for ages about.
Yeah.
So we might as well just jump into exclusive deals. Now, obviously, exclusive deals have been a long thing in gaming with, Xbox 360, PS3, even as far back as then. What do you guys think about them in general when it comes to gaming?
I think they're great. I think it's a great ploy for companies to do that, to try and get people to buy their console.
Okay.
I think it's a dip move.
Okay, so
in all, like, even back in the day with Call of Duty and what is it, 1 month exclusive?
It used to be 1 month DLC exclusive, yeah.
The DLC.
Did you think that was silly as well? Or?
Say again?
No, I'm saying to Alan, did you think that was ridiculous as well?
No, I think with DLCs it's fine. I think if they're doing it with whole games, it's a bit of a dip move.
Okay, so we've got one who doesn't really care about it and one who does. In that case, what about like other exclusive deals? Like, say you could get one DLC on one console, but
so
then
you're
it's
talking like
different
platform exclusive microtransaction deals.
Platform exclusive deals. So something you can only get on one platform.
I like that because then on the other platform you get something different.
Okay, what if one of the platforms got nothing?
They did that sucks. But there was the thing Soul Calibur did back in the day, I think it was, where the characters, PlayStation got one character and Xbox got a different character, and I think it was Darth Vader and Yoda maybe or something.
It was either Soul Calibur or a Tekken game did it.
But if they both get their own exclusive things for it, different exclusive things, I think that's a great idea. But if one platform gets it and the other one gets nothing, it just sucks.
Yeah, so we obviously spoke about it on the last podcast. The new Call of Duty PS5 and PS4 are getting a full-blown exclusive mode for a full year, which obviously, when it comes to COD, it's a yearly released game, so they're getting a full exclusive mode for essentially the game's life cycle.
The entire game, yeah.
Yeah. A few other things have come out, though, about PlayStation exclusive only content. Again, this is for Call of Duty, but I don't think it's necessarily just impacting Call of Duty players. I think this is setting a dangerous precedent for the gaming community in general. If we take a look at what the PlayStation is getting, James, do you still have the list open?
Yeah, so on PlayStation, the benefits you get is you get 2 extra creator class, you get extra tier skips, extra weapon XP, exclusive double XP events, PlayStation Party bonus. So if you're in a PlayStation Party, you get 25% extra bonus for weapon XP. And then obviously you got the COD Zombies Onslaught mode. And if you own the Battle Pass, you get a further 5 tier skips, allowing you a total of 25.
I'm assuming the Battle Pass, you get those tier skips regardless of the platform, right?
No, that's a bonus to the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
That is a lot of ass kissing.
So that is only for PlayStation. Xbox do not get any of that, basically.
So, I'm in two minds myself.
But do Xbox get something different?
Nope.
Or just nothing?
No.
Just nothing.
See? I think exclusivity is good. I just don't think they need to go this far.
Yeah, this is becoming
a
major problem now. It's like you said, Al, if it was just an expansion for a month, it doesn't matter. It's a month. People can, will, and have waited before. It's not a big deal. But this is essentially making the PlayStation version a pay-to-win game, sort of. It's like if you... Well, right, what I mean is, the servers are combined.
Pay-to-play, essentially, isn't it?
Not pay-to-play, but what I mean is, the servers are completely combined. So, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC all play together on the same server. Now, PlayStation users are going to have a much bigger advantage, especially at launch. They get all this extra EXP, they get extra creator class slots, which you unlock as soon as you get to level 4. So, straight off the bat, there's a bonus right there for them. You know, they've got more slots available to create a class. And then you've also got the Battle Pass skips, which is going to be more weapons, better weapons, even faster, essentially. So this is going to open up the opening where PlayStation players have a much, much bigger unfair advantage. I mean, it's not to the level of PC players with a mouse and keyboard, but it's still going to be really unfair to the other two.
I think it's been blown out of proportion. I don't think it's that bad. I do think there's a lot there, but I don't think they're big things. I mean, the tier skips, maybe. I don't think they should be there.
The amount of tier skips, though, how many tier skips was it?
25 in total on
That's
PlayStation.
A lot of tier skips.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, James. You've played the beta quite a bit, haven't you? Like, me and you played it together quite a lot. Yeah. You yourself know how slow the weapons are to level up, which is obviously where you get your attachments and things like that. We know from experience the attachments play a big, big role in how good you can essentially perform with that weapon, essentially. For this weapon bonus, when you're both in a party and things like that, and just the flat-out bonus, that's going to allow PlayStation users to really rank up their weapons even faster.
From what I read, because it says it also includes if the party is with PC and Xbox players. I assume that means because you're a PS player, you give them that bonus as well. So you want someone that's on a PS playing with you. So it's not just exclusive to PlayStation. PlayStation can also give it to other players if they're in your party.
Okay, that's interesting.
So that's not terrible.
That's not terrible.
I think we need to remember that XP bonuses have always been there.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they haven't.
There's always...
It's always been available for both at the same time.
Yeah, not always. Double XP weekend kind of thing is your normal go-to.
Yeah, but it's not always on every console. There have been a lot of times where it's just on PlayStation and stuff like that.
Yeah, but then a month later the Xbox had it. Because they were typically in line with expansion releases previously.
But this doesn't say that Xbox and PC won't get extra weapon XP and stuff at certain times, just we'll get it more often.
I suppose, yeah. I suppose there is that.
So, I mean, when you look into it properly, I don't think it's as bad as what people make out, but I do think it is too much at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm in two minds for it.
Well, I mean, obviously it is made by Activision. We know how greedy Activision are. But is this going to set a dangerous precedent for other developers doing the same thing?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't think like even EA would do something like this?
Because if EA would, absolutely EA would.
It's like if Sony go up to them and say, here's a check, we want all of this for just PlayStation.
EA would, absolutely, and people should stop playing FIFA games, but they won't because they're so far in now. But
I mean, until like 2 years ago, you were one of those people.
I know. About 2 years, yeah.
I'll be honest, I can see this happening in Battlefield.
Well, that's EA ran into it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've thought it's unprecedented for future developers, then other people are going to be thinking that as well. So maybe developers have looked at this through the eyes that you've looked at this, and maybe they've thought, we can't do that. Give it this much to this platform. They'll probably do exclusives, yes, but not huge amounts to the point where it's just unfair.
I think one of the related things, though, is the whole Epic exclusives that were a big deal a while ago, where Epic were paying developers to make the games exclusive on their platform. Every single time a game went to the Epic store, it's like everybody hit the roof. Literally, everybody went mental.
I'm now on that bandwagon of an Epicator because they've got Rocket League now, and that means you can't use the workshops on Steam.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's like, nobody likes exclusives like that. And at this point, it's been years of just constant backlash against exclusives. But let alone stopping the exclusives, they're just getting even worse like this, making it completely exclusive. And I definitely don't think...
Well, not to mention if it's cross-platform as well, which I'm assuming it will be. It's also unbalanced.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, the same can be said about allowing PC players to play with console players. Because, I mean...
Yeah, but in terms of ranking PlayStation players up a lot faster, because they're playing on PlayStation...
Yeah.
And it's going to be unbalanced in matches.
There is that. I mean, I suppose we do have to wait and see how much it matters. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those things that... as egotistical and big-headed as it sounds, a bad player is not going to be able to take full advantage of these buffs. 25% bonus on 100 points is not a lot. A good player who hits 10k every match, that 25% is going to be a big increase very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be unfair in the sense that it's going to make the good players even better faster. Because it's going to allow them to get their shit much, much quicker. And let's be honest, I mean, COD's one of those games where people no-life the crap out of it for the first 24 to 48 hours anyway. But I'm hoping this doesn't happen on any more games in the future. Because I don't want this to happen, you know? It's like, I don't want to have to feel like I need to get a console to play something. You know what I mean?
I want to see more of exclusive to both platforms, but different exclusives. So if you buy an Xbox, you'll get this exclusive, or if you buy a PlayStation, you'll get this different exclusive.
Yeah, but that's down to Microsoft to pay up. If they don't do that, they're not going to get anything at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I still put my hands up and I say exclusivities are not new.
No.
We're all used to them. We've had them for years. No one really moaned back in the day. I mean, a couple of people moaned when Xbox would have a new DLC for a month.
No, I mean, a monthly time is different to a permanent exclusive. Like, I don't...
But it depends on what the exclusives are. To me, these aren't
like,
massive.
If it's cosmetic, I don't care.
Yeah,
I generally don't care. If it's actually related to gameplay, then it becomes important to talk about, I think.
So the biggest thing is you need to remember these companies pay for these exclusives to try and get people to buy their console.
Yeah, I know, but if it's going to be such a point as permanent exclusives now, like...
And buy the console.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like, I don't want to feel like I have to buy a console just because I want one particular thing. You know, it's like... I can understand exclusives in the sense that you're describing, but this level of exclusivity is just too much.
Don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm in two minds. I do agree with that. I think this is too much, but I think people are going a bit overboard on it.
Okay, what about the zombie mode? Because that's a full-blown mode that's exclusive for an entire year.
That I 100% think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That alone is too much.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, now, anybody who wants to play the game, they're going to feel like, okay, well, I have to get this on PlayStation, otherwise I'm not going to get this mode.
Yeah, that's a good market employ for Sony.
It's
That's exactly my point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good marketing play for Sony, but at the same time, it shits on consumers.
Well, it doesn't, because no one's got the consoles yet.
No, but what I mean is, let's say you were going to buy just an Xbox to play with your friends and that. Because we know COD is cross-platform. Not all games are. So you're going to buy the console that you can play the most with your friends, aren't you? But now it's like you're essentially being forced to pick up both if you want the full features of a game, essentially.
Yeah, I 100% agree, especially with the Onslaught.
More and more people are doing that, though, getting both consoles.
I know, but I mean, this year in particular, it's going to be an undertaking to get both.
Yeah, of course.
Because, I mean, people have been out of work nearly the entire year this year. It's like... I mean, James, how much have you worked this year? I'm guessing you were January to March, and then you've been back like 2 months now, right?
January to February. Like the end of February. And then I went back for, about a month and a half. And that was about it.
Yeah, so I mean...
I've worked for about a month and a half. Well, about 2.5 months this year.
Yeah. And it's like, obviously, you do get furlough when you're not working. That's not the same as a full-time paycheck. And obviously, you've got bills to pay and things like that. So it's like, people aren't earning as much, if at all, because a lot of people have lost their jobs in the pandemic. And they do have bills to pay. So it's like, even though they want a console, let alone one, well, let alone two, they might not even be able to afford one because of the situation. And it's like, I think one of the big things to point out is a lot of people are saying, like, I can't wait for this year to end, roll on 2021. It's like, the virus isn't just suddenly going to disappear on the 31st of December. It's like, there's no saying 2021 is going to be any better than this year. It's like, we don't know how long the current situation is going to last. So it's one of them things that I think... I can understand the marketing ploy. I really can. I think this year in particular, or should I say this console release in particular, probably not the best time to really start going ham on it like they are. I just think it's a little unfair to consumers.
But so, obviously with what Xbox did, which we spoke about a couple of episodes ago regarding buying a lot of game companies, do you think Sony feel pressured and they have to do this sort of thing to try and keep people on Sony so they don't all switch to Microsoft in the worry that their games aren't going to come out on Sony?
I mean, Microsoft have been buying a lot of big companies lately, for sure. Sony do have a number of good first-party studios and first-party titles and that under their belt. I don't think they're fully taking advantage of what they already own. It's like, I think they can do better with what they own instead of trying to do these shady little deals like that. Because, I mean, let's be honest, it's a Call of Duty game. It's not going to make or break the console sales.
Speaking of Xbox buying companies, by the way, was there any confirmation at all on them buying Ubisoft, or did that just disappear?
That just disappeared.
That just disappeared, yeah. We knew that was bollocks anyway.
But like, they did get Bethesda, though, which is going to be a big part, because Microsoft have made a statement basically saying, we don't have to bring anything over to PlayStation. Like, we don't have to make any of these Bethesda games like PlayStation. We can make these Xbox exclusives. And this came from, like, an actual executive from Microsoft. So, if you're a fan of Elder Scrolls, Fallout, things like that, like, big titles, some of the most popular titles, it's like, you're pretty much stuck with an Xbox now if you want to play them.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Do you think that Sony maybe are worried because they could possibly lose these games, that they have to try and do what they can to try and keep people coming to them? Plus, on the other end of it, Xbox can retaliate to this and just say, well, screw you, then we're not going to give you these games.
I don't think this level of deal with a Call of Duty game will really make up much shortfall.
It depends, because unlike the recent Call of Duties, this one's got a lot of hype. It's not like the last couple that have come out. This one's huge.
I have to agree. Like, even just playing the beta and that, I mean, obviously, James, me and you played the beta a lot. I've personally not had fun on a Call of Duty since the PS3 games. There were a couple on the PS4 for like zombies, like Black Ops 2, not Black Ops 2, like Black Ops 4 and that. Like, I do enjoy zombies on the PS4 games. I've not enjoyed any of the multiplayer much. This to me feels like a step back in the PS3 days, you know, something you can sit up, put your feet up, get your mates together and just have a blast playing for a few hours, you know? So I can understand that. I just don't think it's going to hit the level that you think. Like, I don't think this level of deal is going to bring in as many people as a new Fallout or a new Elder Scrolls game will.
No, of course not. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying that that's what they've got to play with right now.
Thing is,
so make the most of what you've got right now, right on the release of the consoles. What can we do to make people come over?
But they have so many titles that they can take advantage of. Like, we haven't had a Jak and Daxter game since the PS2.
Yeah, but they didn't see this coming. Xbox buying companies. So now you can't just make a game like that. Like, all right, let's quickly throw out this. What can we do in this time?
What I mean is they've got these really popular ISPs that they've just sort of left on the roadside for years and years and years. They're not taking advantage of it. They seem to be sort of doing what Nintendo do. They are focusing on what has worked for them continuously. So it's like, Xbox sells a lot, we're going to focus... Call of Duty sells a lot, we're going to focus on Call of Duty. Okay, that's a year and you have to pay every single time for that. Not that good of a deal, if you ask me. Plus, it's not going to generate that much hype. Whereas then you've got things like, as I say, Jak and Daxter. You've got Ratchet & Clank, which we had one game on the PS4. We're finally getting another one on the PS5. But just those two games alone, they are console movers. Like, they are straight up console movers. But we're only getting a Ratchet & Clank game. Why hasn't been nothing announced for, like, Jak and Daxter? Because that will move consoles. A lot more consoles, in my opinion, than an exclusive zombie mode.
I don't see those as console movers. I see stuff like Spider-Man as console movers. It's probably
definitely is.
It's probably difference of opinion from players who play different games.
Yeah, because I mean, you yourself have never really played them, have you?
But I know the PS4 Spider-Man there was a few people I know personally who were tempted. They were so close to getting the PS4 just because of the exclusive Spider-Man game.
I mean, you are always going to have that with AAA games. Like, you've got Last of Us, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy. Like, they are names that will sell consoles just for one game. But it's like, those are the big mainstay ones that everybody knows will sell a console. There's obviously going to be smaller game. Well, I say smaller games. There's obviously going to be games which don't really have as much knowledge about them out in the public that can still move consoles. It's like Ratchet & Clank and Jack and Dexter, as I say. It's like, even when the PS5 was announced and we saw the launch live stream and that with the Ratchet & Clank announcement, so many people were saying, like, I'm buying a console for this. I'm buying a console for this game. And that's what I mean. It's like, they are console movers. They have such an occult following. But Sony just aren't taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I think they've missed out on a lot. They definitely should have looked into like a Jack and Dexter and stuff like that. But that's a mistake that they've already made. My point is that the upcoming stuff that came recently is where now they're possibly panicking and just seeing, what can we do now? And this is their only option. Whereas they should have done that stuff before, but that takes time. So they haven't done it now. Oh well, that's done and dusted.
Okay,
what can we do right now?
If they're doing this now as a panic move, what do you think they can do in the future? Well, what do you think they will do in the future as well? Like, what other sort of panic moves are they going to make?
I reckon they'll throw money at anything because Xbox is looking strong.
I mean, there's not really much announced currently that they can throw money at, though, is there?
Not really.
So it's going to be a rough ride for Sony.
Especially, I think it's going to be a rough ride for both of them. Xbox don't have any actual exclusive games at the moment. Well, any new games.
They're probably going to have a smoother transition though with the studios they've picked up.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah, because it's like
it's still going to be a rocky road for both consoles.
I think the first 6 to 12 months is going to make or break them. It's like, it depends on what each company gets out, basically. But if Bethesda managed to get out an Elder Scrolls just for the Xbox or a Fallout for the Xbox in the first 12 months, that's gonna damage Sony badly. So I don't think Sony would be able to put anything out that can compete against those two games. Not exclusively, anyway. Because, I mean, how many games do you think of could compete against such titles?
It depends on personal preference, again. Like, I'm not asked about the Bethesda deal. Because I don't play any of those games. No,
but I mean, you still recognise how big they are, right?
Yeah, of course. But I just think there'll be PlayStation exclusives that'll be better games, but that's down to my personal preference. So it's going to be difficult to say what they could come out with to compete.
That's the thing, though. Exclusive-wise, Sony haven't really announced anything. We've got Godfall, which is only exclusive for a year now. That's no longer PlayStation 5 exclusive. Have you guys seen the latest trailer going around on Facebook?
No.
It now has a bit of text at the very bottom of the trailer saying exclusive on PlayStation 5 until, I think it was November 2021. So that's going to get another console port as well.
I mean, as we discussed with the zombies, a year is long enough.
Yeah, like you said, a year was a long time, and then now you've just gone like, oh, it's only a year.
Yeah, I mean, people will buy it later on when it's released on the console. But if you want to play it now, you're going to get a PS5.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, Call of Duty, a year is its full life cycle.
Yeah, but not to mention, who's to say that in a year time after Godfall, they don't bring out a Godfall 2?
I mean, if it's such a big game like they're making out, they won't bring a new one out every year. Like, I think realistically, it's only copy and paste games like COD and FIFA that can do the yearly releases.
I'm not saying every year. What I'm saying, if the game blows up, they could probably do 2 or 3 games. Godfall 1, 2, and 3. And if you're getting it exclusively for a year, you're getting the entire life of that game until next release for 3 years. And then after that, people get the game no matter what because all the exclusivity is gone.
I mean, I suppose
but that's 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a long time, so I'm not sure. I just think exclusivity should be a thing of the past at this point. It's like, it shouldn't matter what you're playing.
Shouldn't, but it does shift consoles.
I know, and that's one of the things that really gripes me. Like,
that's the thing. You need the competition, or you're never going to get better.
I just think they should try and market it. Like, they should try and market on other things instead of exclusive deals. Market on benefits of the console, you know.
Chris said in the chat that God was actually 6 months.
I'm not sure then. It could be 6 months. As I say, like, I've only glanced at the trailer. I didn't pay super big attention to it, and I haven't had time to look up the actual details of it.
If it's 6 months, that's not a long time for exclusive, because they're definitely not bringing out a second game in 6 months.
No chance.
If they did, that'd be stupid.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, like, at the moment, next gen is not really next gen because there's no next gen games. Like, Godfall is probably one of the few that you can count on one hand that it is next gen.
What's that game that they kept advertising with the polygons and all this and that for the PS5?
That's just a tech demo. That's just a tech demo.
No. It's an actual game.
You mean the one where they were in the cave?
Yeah.
That was just a tech demo, I think.
No. It's an actual game. I can't remember the name of it. That game is a next gen game. That looks amazing.
I
don't think it's available on PS4. I could be wrong, but I don't think it is.
I mean, if it's available on PS4, then to me it's not a next gen game. Like, I personally take next gen as being next gen only, you know?
Yeah, next gen exclusive.
Yeah, pretty much. Because then you know, like, it's built for this console. It's not going to get downshotted just to run on an older console.
Like we said earlier, though, this was to be expected. On release date, they'll have the games that runs on PS4 and PS5 until maybe a year down the line, where you got PS5.
Yeah, I mean,
they've done every single release.
Yeah,
we can't.
No.
Yeah, we can't moan about that.
Yeah, it's like I don't have any problem with that. I just think on release we should have some next gen games only, like some only next gen titles. It's like Godfall is one of them, essentially.
Well, they did add a game into the PlayStation Plus for this month. It's not available on PS4, but it's on PS5, even though it's not out yet.
What? Really?
Yeah, PS5's already got a PS Plus game.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything big. I think it was one of those indie titles.
Exclusive.
I don't know the name of it, though. I suppose we should probably talk about a little bit of an issue as well with the PS5 regarding the actual storage, games, and moving them about.
You should have spoke about that earlier, yeah.
I know, yeah. It slipped my mind. I've just noticed it on the list of topics. You can't move a PS5 game to external storage.
Why?
You just can't. Like, if you want to basically change... Like, say you've run out of space and that, you can't move it over. You have to delete it and then download it again whenever you want. You can't just move it over and move it back whenever you want to play it.
You delete it and then download it to the extended?
Yes, you can do, yeah. Yes, you can.
PS5 games can't go on extended storage.
No, they can't. You're right.
That's the thing. It's like the only thing you can do with PS5 games is download and play them. Like, if you want to get rid of it, you have to delete it.
I might just wait fucking 3 years before I get a next-gen console. It's all shit.
It's like, buy a PS5 when the PS6 gets announced.
I'm going to start going backwards, man. I'm going out buying a PS2 and a PS1.
I mean, there's a lot of games available for them. You can certainly have a lot of fun with that.
Next-gen is just crap at the moment.
There's not really many benefits, is there?
No.
Especially
it's
when...
almost feeling like a burden to buy the bloody thing.
Yeah, I suppose. Did you see how Sony took legal action, though?
On?
The custom faceplates.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So one of the big things is they were making out how, like, you can take these faceplates off and change them around. And then they pretty much went after a company who were doing custom faceplates. They sent them a cease and desist.
They had to give refunds and everything.
Yeah.
Third party store that hand got refunds, like you said, because PlayStation already have a patent pending.
Yeah, so they're going to be doing their own ones. But the issue with that, in my opinion, is it's not a big deal. You can take those plates off yourself and paint them however you want.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like, I think it's a bit silly that they've gone and taken this site down.
Here's the thing, like, if I ever got a custom faceplate, I'm not going to buy a faceplate, you know? It's like, I'm gonna send my faceplates off, and an artist can use them as a canvas to make me a picture.
I did see the faceplates that this third-party store was doing, though. No offense to whoever
It didn't look great.
It wasn't amazing. They were just colours. They were just red, brown, blue.
So you basic.
Yeah, there weren't like
paints.
images or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, later down the line, you will be able to get third-party ones.
For sure.
Hopefully, PlayStation ones will be amazing, but they're going to be very expensive as opposed to the third-party, no doubt.
Yeah, I think people will be shopping third-party.
I mean, you're definitely going to end up with ones like Spider-Man and things like that are going to be officially licensed by Sony.
Are the panels going to be stickers that go onto the panels, or are they actually going to be panels that you buy that have got the image
Panels that you buy.
I mean, it could be both.
3D print them.
I mean, it could be both. Like, you could get panels that you just stick a sticker on.
You get everybody not everybody, but people who have
Like
the option
to take them off and change them.
Yeah.
People will just 3D print them and sell them third party.
I don't know, because that would probably cost quite a lot in plastic to 3D print. Especially with how tall they are.
Maybe, yeah.
We don't even need to do that, just spray paint it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, just take your plate off and spray paint it, or...
You know what I hate in the chat for suggesting spray paint your PlayStation.
No, you just take the panel off and spray paint it, or you can use hydro dipping.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be really good, actually.
I mean, you could probably get some really nice hydro dip designs. So... I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But the thing is, if Sony are taking action now, are they going to continue taking action, or are they eventually going to let third parties make custom designs?
When I heard they took action, I was happy because that meant that pretty much confirmed that they were going down the line of customizing the panels anyway, and that was what I was looking forward to.
But are they going to sell the customized panels individually, or are you going to have to buy a new console for those panels, which are officially licensed?
No. There's a reason why they come off.
You shouldn't be expected to buy another console just because it's got a different panel.
I mean, the PS4 panel comes off. You expected to buy a new console for a design on that?
No, you just get a sticker for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a sticker for it, but what I'm saying is if you want a design from Sony, you can't just buy a panel, you have to buy a new console from them. So, I mean, who's to say they aren't doing this with the PS5?
But those panels don't come off as easy as the PS5. The PS5 is just click.
I mean, the PS4 is just a click. You just pull it off.
Is it?
Yeah,
No, I've never taken it
you
off.
just pull it off and slide, basically.
Yeah, well, PlayStation probably didn't have a patent pending for customization on those panels, did they, on the PS4?
I don't know.
So
I mean,
you weren't supposed to customize them yourself, or they didn't have a pending patent of customization, whereas they have with the PS5, so they're just going to be sold.
I mean, I think it's one of those things we'll have to wait and see, because I don't know.
The only thing with that is, like, you know how they bring out the limited edition ones? How's that going to work for these? Is it the black part of the console is going to be limited edition, whereas the panels... Because, I mean, anyone could just buy those panels, and therefore you've got the limited edition.
Yeah. But, I mean, how can they make the black part a limited edition? There's not much
stick a panel on the side of mine. I'm going to get a PlayStation 5 in 1 year. I'm going to take the panels off and stick ones on that say day one.
It's like, you like my day one panel, boys?
Then I'm going to sell it for $5,000.
Are you sure? I mean, PS5s at the moment, dude, are selling for a lot more than that. I've seen some going for $8,000. It's like, get in on that. Get in on that. Do you guys think any of those consoles are selling?
What, those scalper?
No.
Yeah,
most of the time
7,
it's people are bidding $7,000-8,000 and then not paying, just so that they have to then relist it.
Yeah, just take the piss out of them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
They're just screwing them over. Good.
What do you think the most a whale is going to pay for a console?
Depends.
I think $2,000 is probably
$700.
an easy bet.
Nah, not $2,000.
There's going to be people out there who will pay $2,000 for a day one console.
I think they'll pay $1,000.
I still reckon at least 2. It's like, there are people out there with more money than sense. There are definitely a lot of people out there with more money than sense.
There is. Fuck Jeff Bezos.
But no, I reckon $1,000 because it's just over twice the price of the console. I can see that happening, but not $2,000.
I think $1,000 would probably be most of the sales. But I don't know. I still reckon there'll be the few that do go above 2. It's like, people do have more money than sense at times, and if they want the console, they will use that money for the convenience. It's like how whales on mobile games. You have whales who've dumped $10,000 on a game, just like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, if somebody wanted the console, I'm sure they would do it. The only question is, who's going to be the lucky sod that gets the sale?
Probably Mr. Ryza.
Yeah, I'll put mine up for sale now.
Yeah. Good luck with that. But no, here's the thing, though. Are you guys going to get a custom panel?
Yeah.
I'm not bothered.
I'm not that bothered either.
The only reason I'm buying the PlayStation.
I mean, I'm going to try and have my PS5 sort of in front of my PC, so I might get a black panel just because it'll blend in more with the PC aesthetic.
I want custom panels because I've always wanted to customize a console, but you've only ever been able to do it with stickers, and if you take them off, it's just going to mark it, right? So this just seems like a cleaner way to do it.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, to be fair though, you could always just take the panel off your current gen console and paint it. You don't really have to get stickers. Like, painting has always been an option.
Yeah.
It's just
a bit of a hassle.
Yeah, it's more of a hassle and it's harder.
Do you think there's going to be people that have a collection of panels?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people have got collections of everything. It's like collection of post stamps, collection of stickers, collections of beans. Name something and yeah, it's like there's collections of everything. All different sorts of bean tins and that. It's like there's some guy in I think it's Florida actually. Because,
of course.
Yeah, well, like, why not Florida? He's got a collection of motor oil, so car oil. Like, all these tins of car oil. He's got pretty much every sort ever been made since, I think it was like the 40s or something like that. And he has a full house littered with shelves and racks and things like that, just full of all these tins of car oil.
Are you sure that's a collection and not just hoarding?
Yeah.
It was too clean to be a hoarder. But no, it's like, it's a full-blown collection. I think it was valued at, I want to say like 5 million. And that's just tins of oil.
Jesus.
Dread to think what they'd be like in a car with how old they are, but...
You could sell them to China.
I think they've got enough oil. But no, in fact, James, I've got one thing to ask. Your console is confirmed. When are you getting it?
I think the 12th, but that's like a week early.
Which is what they said, though. To be fair.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because there is a rumour that they're bringing PS5 release ahead a week in the UK because of the lockdown. And obviously, I don't have an order confirmed. Alan, you don't. James, you're the only one who does. So I was going to say, like, what is the deal? What's the communication been for you?
Not a lot, just an email.
And they're basically just saying, it's coming!
Yeah, just your order will be here on the 12th. But I don't know what, like, if everything turns up on the 12th or what.
Are you going to go out and buy an 8K TV?
I mean, I will do it at some point, but no time soon. I ain't got the money for that.
I don't see the point in people saying, like, oh yeah, you need a new TV to fully enjoy the console.
You might do, depending on the HDMI port you've got.
Yeah. Because obviously it's HDMI 2.1. If you've still got like a HDMI 1 or...
That's what I'm worried about. I haven't checked mine.
I mean, there's no way in hell you have HDMI 1, Al. Your TV is far too new for that.
Okay.
I think mine's
like,
1.
People go out and say you need an 8K TV to fully enjoy these consoles. The consoles won't run 8K. They could run an 8K slideshow.
Needing is the wrong word there. Nobody needs an 8K TV.
No, but what I mean is people are saying, like, to enjoy the most of the console, you're going to need an 8K TV. Just because...
Yeah, but honestly, there's only if you put them side by side, you'll only notice the slight difference between playing it on if you've got a 4K TV.
I mean, to be fair, if you have an 8K TV, you would need to sit God knows how far away before you could actually enjoy it fully anyway. But what I mean is, the consoles can't run 8K.
No, they're like, on 4K.
Yeah, it's like, you could look at an 8K picture, but you will never, ever in this world play a game in 8K on the console.
How many people out there are going to spend like $7,000 on an 8K TV to look at an 8K picture?
The people who don't look it up beforehand. But it's like, even my PC will crush a PS5. I wouldn't even dream of trying to play 8K on that.
The biggest thing, though, I don't think 8K really matters. 4K is obviously the best for the consoles. 8K will be great, but it's not needed. Obviously, the HDMI port, but you also need to look at your refresh rate of your screen, because if you're on a 60 hertz,
refresh rate is going to get the big one.
You're not going to get the 120 hertz that you need for a lot of the games. It's going to be you're going to suffer from it.
Yeah, refresh rate is definitely one of the things I would say take a look out for. But thing is, a lot of TVs are only 60.
Yeah, mine is.
It's like if you want...
I don't even know what mine is.
Well, some TVs now do go up to 120 and 144. Most TVs don't, though. So it's like if you want to get the 120 FPS, you're probably going to have to buy a PC monitor. Either that or shell out a lot of money for a TV.
Some brand new TVs do it. I think LG and Samsung have hit the market with some brand new TVs.
Yeah, I mean, some TVs do it. It's just the vast majority don't.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can either spend way too much money on a TV, or you can get a monitor.
And to be fair, the price of the monitors for these, you're looking at the price of a TV as well. That's the problem.
It's probably worth getting a TV the size of a monitor.
What do you mean, James?
TV prices have dropped a lot. That you're looking under $1,000 for a very good TV, but you're looking about the same price for a good monitor.
I disagree on that. I mean, a good monitor you could pick up for £300-400.
Well, I'm talking the 4K, the HDMI 2.1, the 120 hertz.
Yeah.
If you want all of that, about £300.
I mean, depends on you making.
And obviously
model.
1 millisecond.
HDMI 2.1.
I mean, you're probably not going to get a 1 millisecond TV for below £1,000. Not with everything else included.
Yeah, I mean, not in general, but it'll have the game mode that should have the 1 millisecond.
But I mean, depending on the make and model for the monitor, you can pick up a pretty decent 4K TV, 4K monitor for $350 to $400. It's not an ideal price range for everything you want. I'd say maybe $500 to $550 is probably a better range for monitors. But again, that is balls to the wall, top notch.
You're not going to see me spend £500 on a monitor. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, as I say, that is like it's an extravagant level of expenditure for a monitor. It's like it's definitely not needed.
Black Friday to get a couple of monitors, and honestly, I don't want to be spending any more than £150 each.
Yeah, I mean that's a good entry level for monitors. Like that in and of itself is a good level for the new consoles, really. It's like you can look at what's the make? AOC.
I've been looking at AOC.
Yeah. They have some really good monitors around the 150 price point.
I've been looking at MSI as well.
I wouldn't bother with MSI for that price point.
No.
For 150, I'd say AOC is your best bet for bang for your buck. MSI doesn't really become worthwhile until about the 300 mark. But obviously, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something just for next gen, the only thing you care about is the panel, the refresh rate, and the response time.
Very true.
It's only those three things.
It depends what you're after, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, if you want just something for the next gen console, £150, Amazon, AOC.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have realised that this stuff matters when it comes to the next console, because a lot of people are going to plug it into their usual TVs and think, hang on, this don't look that much different. But you're not going to see the difference because you're on an old...
Yeah.
People are going to plug it into their TVs and realise that they can't plug it in as well, because they got the wrong HDMI port.
No,
I mean, it'll still work.
The connection is the same. It's just
you still get display on it.
Yeah. It's just a slower speed, so you can't get the full function performance display, basically. But no, I mean, it's one of those things that I think now is the time where console owners should probably start learning more about PC side if they want to enjoy the consoles to the fullest. Because the consoles are getting to a point now where they are essentially PCs. If you want to make the most of your console, you should look at how to make the most of a PC, basically.
Again, I don't think you're going to be able to enjoy your console to the fullest anyway for about a year. Because all the updates are going to go rolling out within the first month or two.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's to be expected.
There's going to be bugs and shit.
It's not even that. Do you remember, it's always on the first day of fucking release, you've got to do an update. I hate that. Why is the first thing I've got to do is an update?
Why is this already updated?
I can't say anything about consoles because I've never had a console before release. I have had games from companies before release for review purposes, though. So the reason for day one patches are typically what those who had the early version of the game are reporting bugs. So when I get a review copy of a game, any bugs and things I come across, I will jot down and I will send in an email over to the developer.
But you want about system updates, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's probably the same thing.
It's because obviously they're boxed and shipped out long before they've finished everything that they want to get done on it.
Yeah.
So they'll update the UI and everything, and then they'll just throw an update on it. I get why. It's just annoying.
Yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, it's like the consoles have been out for, well, they've been out to reviewers for, I want to say like 2-3 weeks now, right?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so in those 2-3 weeks, they would have had more people testing the console than they've had internally since they started development on it. Because there's only so many people Sony can hire to test the console. Once they send them out to free to all these YouTubers, Twitchers, tech review places and things like that, that's going to be hundreds of times more people that can find bugs and problems that need to be fixed. So once these things get reported, Sony can fix them. It's like, typically, before release, it's not even an update on release day. Sometimes you can have multiple updates before release. It's like, I've had games before now where I've had an update nearly every other day because they were fixing bugs. And this was pre-release. It's like, as you gate on release day, you only see that one patch, but you don't know how many there was before that. So,
yeah.
It's just one of them things, like, it is to be expected, basically.
At least it's not like a new phone. When you get a brand new phone and you've got to do every update separately. You could have 10 updates when you just took it out of the box. It's like, what are you doing?
Dude, I turn my updates off on my phone. I straight up turn my updates off.
When it comes to me with phones, I'll happily take hand-me-downs. I won't go out and buy an iPhone 12 or whatever and then do a million updates.
Yeah. I mean, see, it's like, with mine, I'll do the updates as soon as I get it, and then I'll turn them off, because every single time I update my phone, it fucking breaks something. Every single time. Something will break. It's like the last update I did, it killed my fast charging. I've tried I've tried re-rolling it and everything. I cannot get fast charging to work. If you remember, James, I was talking to you about this before, and we thought there might be something gunked in the charging port.
Oh, yeah.
I've looked it up, and it is an issue with the S10 in general. The charging does basically just knacker over time, essentially. And there's so many people with the issue.
I had an issue like
change
that.
the charging port, mate.
When you're charging it, is it the battery still going down?
No, the battery goes up while it's charging. It just doesn't fast charge.
I had an issue with a phone once where it was on charge, but the battery was going down.
That's your logic board. That's the power IC. But I'm not going to get into all of that. But yeah, I've never really had issues with my phones, to be fair. The only issue I've ever had was with my Note 9, where after a year and a half or so, I got a little bit of water in it and it damaged the charging port, even though it's waterproof. Well, water resistant.
See, this is the only phone I've ever had a problem with, to be fair. And I have had it now for 2 years. So I suppose it's not bad going. But with it being an S10 that I got on release, I mean, it was an expensive phone. I would expect it to last longer than 2 years, to be fair.
Yeah.
But we're just at that point now where tech is getting so expensive, but also so fragile. It's like the slightest little thing will kill tech these days. And it's becoming really annoying. I just hope the next-gen consoles aren't as fragile.
I honestly think they will be.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, there is that, but I just... One thing I'm worried about... I mean, I know I'm going back to the PS5 storage here. If the PS5 has a problem with the SSD because it's soldered onto the motherboard, that means you're pretty much going to be without a console for weeks or months unless you go and buy a new one. Because Sony repairs are slow as hell.
It depends, though. Do you reckon you can, like on a PC, go into the BIOS sort of thing and change which hard drive it boots from?
Actually, because of the controller, I don't know. Because the internal storage is hard linked to the controller. Because it's like a new custom controller. That's how they can hit these super fast speeds.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll just be slower, but maybe it could work. But again, we won't really know until the NDA lifts. And that probably won't happen for PS5 until the 19th, where it releases worldwide, essentially.
Can I segue?
Go on.
Can I segue?
Yeah, go on.
Speaking of PS5 problems, what about the overheating?
I mean, it was kind of obvious to happen. Like,
players have been getting this pop-up sign on the screen now, aren't they, saying this?
No, not players, not players.
Not players.
It was a Best Buy
shops.
demo unit.
Best Buy, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Saying that the system's overheating, turn it off to cool it down, such and such.
I mean,
how long's too long?
Here's the thing, though. People, like real world people, are not going to experience that.
No.
Because real world people aren't stupid enough to put the console in a sealed glass box, essentially.
Without any air holes.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no air holes or anything. It was just in a sealed box. But, as I've said to Sam, the Xbox Series X would have been in the same box. It didn't have the issue. And when I was working in Toys R Us, we had PS3s, PS4s, Xbox 360, Xbox Ones in the same boxes, never had the issue.
I mean,
I don't think it's going to be an issue with the console at home, for people at home with their consoles. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
No.
But it is a little bit worrying that it has happened for this console.
I
the same box.
don't think we can compare it to last gen, because there's a lot less power in last gen consoles. Whereas now we have much, much higher performance components that are putting out a lot higher heat. But again, it's like, if we look at the Xbox Series X, we had review models where reviewers were burning their hands on it because it was getting so hot. It just wasn't shutting off. Now, if there's a if there's a PS5 unit that is shutting down because it's overheating, I mean, that could just mean that the internal setting for the shut off is set lower than the Xbox. It doesn't mean that it's getting as hot as the Xbox. It could just be Sony have said, okay, if you hit 60 degrees, you shut off. Like, there's no real knowing about that. But again, they put it in a sealed box. It's like, it puts hot air out, it then takes that hot air back in to try and cool down, which then gets heated up even more, and it's just a constant cycle. It's like, I'm sorry, but any 10-year-old with a brain would have figured out what would happen if you do that.
Why was this taken out in a sealed box?
They usually are. It's like a see-through box, so you can see it, but you can't touch it.
Yeah,
but they need.
They should have put air holes. Yeah.
It's like, just get a drill a few holes in, problem solved.
I don't think this is something we need to worry about. I don't think it's going to be an issue for the console. But it is a talking point, obviously, because everyone wants to make a big deal about it. But when you look into it, there are reasons as to why it's happened.
Yeah, it's like, just don't be stupid and don't put it in a sealed box, basically, and you'll be fine. It's like,
and I would go so far as to say, don't put it inside one of your cabinets as well. Like, a lot of people do it for PS4s and so on.
It depends on the cabinets. Some cabinets do have air intakes in them now. Like, some multimedia, home media cabinets and that do have air holes installed in them just because of this factor now. Because a lot of people are going the route of using home media PCs. So, like, a really small form factor PC as a media system.
Funny enough, I think Linus Tech Tips created a cabinet, a cooling cabinet.
I mean, he did more than that. He basically installed God knows how many PC fans into a normal cabinet.
Well, yeah.
It's like, that's kind of all he did. But no, I mean, as long as you've got air holes, it's like, as long as it can breathe, you'll be fine. It's like, just let it take air from the front and let it exhale air at the back. It'll be fine.
I'm glad that if I lie the PS5 down, I no longer have to lie it on, like, some little blocks to keep it an inch up, because the stand does that for you.
That's one of the biggest problems with the PS4. The feet weren't big enough. I had to put rubbers, like pencil erasers, under my PS4 just to get off the bottom enough so that it could let heat flow out.
Yeah.
But I think at this point we all know the PS4 wasn't exactly designed very well when it comes to temperatures.
Nope.
No.
I must admit, though, I'm curious about one thing. How heavy is the PS5 going to be?
Very heavy from what I've seen in the reviews.
I was going to say, because, I mean, we've seen the size of the heatsink now, and that is a chunky
lot of
thing.
metal.
It's like, that's going to be pretty heavy. So, going back to what you were saying, James, about a cabinet, not all cabinets have heavy-duty shelves in them.
Not even that. I don't think a lot of cabinets... Yeah, I know, he did say cabinet.
Cabinets.
I don't think a lot of cabinets actually are big enough to actually fit the PS5 in because they're so big.
I mean, keep in mind, some do have places for like Sky boxes, Virgin Media boxes, and things like that. It would definitely fit in one of them because, I mean, to me, it looks just like the same size as one of them, if I'm honest. So you will have, I'd say, at least one or two shelves that could fit. Obviously, if you've already got things there already, then I'm afraid you're flat out of luck. But again, not all of them are really that sturdy. It's like, we've had quite a few like TV stands in there, which have just been like kind of flimsy chipboard for the like the drawers and the shelves and that. Like, you've got the main TV rest at the top, and then the legs and that are nice thick wood. But then the shelves are actual just chipboard, which is just flimsy. It'll just crumble.
That's your fault for buying cardboard fucking cutouts.
No, I mean, that's my fault for buying IKEA. But no, that's what I mean. So it's like, some people are going to have this problem where their shelves may not support the weight. It's like, do we know how much it actually weighs yet? Like, an actual number for the weight?
We do, but off by heart, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I want to say that we did find out, but I can't remember.
I was going to say, I mean, just going off, like, the experience I have of working with PCs and, like, using their heat sinks and that, this is going to be a heavy one. With the size of it and that, I can't think of how heavy it's going to be. So some people might have this issue where it's too heavy for their stand.
I mean, I've seen people that can't really hold it in one hand.
Yeah, I have, but then again, I've seen
It's
people.
It's very heavy.
That's
seen people
impressive.
I've seen other people that have held it in one hand that have said that it doesn't weigh much, but on the flip side, again, I've seen people that says it weighs a ton.
I mean, to be fair though, that's only a benefit. Like, the sheer amount of metal it's got inside it means heat dissipation is going to be very, very good. It's like, it's gonna run cool. Which again just points to the fact Best Buy really fucked up if they managed to overheat a unit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only been one that's overheated, hasn't it?
Yes, it's only been one from one Best Buy that's been reported.
So it feels like the console wars are just trying to find something to jump onto. I don't think it's... If one console, it's not something to worry about.
I mean, given it's Best Buy, they would have these cases, cabinets and that in every single store. So the fact it is only one console, it could just be a faulty console. It's like, it could just have bad connections on the... I've lost the word now.
Cabinet.
No. Heatsink. It could just be a bad connection between the heatsink and the CPU. So it could just not be transferring the heat, so the CPU is just overheating. Which happens quite a lot on PCs. Like, it could just be a loose connection, so it's overheating that way. Which, again, you know, given the way they're produced, it wouldn't be that hard to have one console produce an error like this.
Well, they've got liquid metal, didn't they?
Yes.
So...
Which, again, is going to really help the cooling performance as well, as long as it doesn't spill.
You were very worried about it, I was going to say.
I am. I mean,
still are?
I would be less worried a week or a month after the console releases and everybody gets their hands on it. I want to see how many fails there are in the first month.
Well, we haven't seen any fails yet.
There's not many being out yet. And the NDA is still in place. It's like, do you think if something goes wrong with the console, they're really going to be allowed to say it on social media?
Well, they could for the Xbox. Why not for Sony?
I mean, just because you can for one doesn't mean you can for both. Sony could have something in the contract with them, basically saying, if there's any problems, don't report them until the 19th.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them, but...
Yeah. I mean, companies do it in general. It's not just Sony, it's not just Microsoft. All companies will have clauses like that in their contract. It's like, when I get review games, I'm not even allowed to tell anybody I've got them. So, for things like that, I mean, it could happen. But I think that's pretty much everything now anyway, unless you guys have anything you want to talk about. I will take that as a no then. Right. In that case, I suppose we should call it here then. Al, do you want to say bye? I'm forcing you to do it first this time instead of putting it over to James.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time.
James?
Yeah, same things. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you again next week.
Right, and obviously, guys, thank you for tuning in to episode number 9 of the Simply Complicated podcast. Hopefully you did enjoy, and again, we will be right back here, not same time next week, but it will be the Sunday, where hopefully we'll be able to talk about the consoles, because they would have released by then. But we'll have to wait and see. As always, though, everybody, thank you for watching, and we will see you later. Bye-bye!
Bye. Just me, really.